And let's take that from the top. Welcome, everybody. If you're just joining me, then I'm going to show you how to install WalkTheWeb 3D Internet Host. It is available on GitHub /http://3d/walktheweb. So github.com, yes. And okay, when you get to the site, you can choose download the zip file, and I'm just going to put it right there and say save. And I already did it, so I'm going to download it anyway, just to show you how easy it is. Okay, so we've gotten the file. It's almost done. It's about 300 megabytes. So I've given you a lot of animations and some stock photos for textures, and we have all the avatars and everything else there. So download the file. I open it up. What I have is we're going to copy this whole directory over. And I've created a site on my server. You can do this on your local machine too. It doesn't have to be on the server. But so if your local machine can have host sites, if it's Windows, that's inet pub directory, and it's just some settings and options in Windows. Okay, so I copy the site there, and basically the internet user account has to have write access into its own site so that it can configure the file. Now, if you the most important part of that is the content directory needs to be set as be able to write to it, because that's where all the upload files go. Whenever you download a plugin or you do an update or you have text or you upload images for to put on buildings as textures and stuff. So the context directory is what really needs it. But to be able to update WalkTheWeb itself automatically, you would have to have it in the whole directory. If you don't choose that, then when you try to update, it'll actually prompt you with click this button, download the files, and then copy them into the folder. So you've got an option if you don't want to set the whole thing there. But if you don't have write access, then you're going to need to come in here into the config file or folder, and then there's a wtw config.sample PHP. Rename that file to wtw_config.php, and then there's a frame that kind of shows you exactly what to set, including your database connection, your table prefix, and your local path to your to where your site is, that content folder is. Also, if you do the automatic install, you can actually change where your folder is located for the content, and you can have the virtual folder showing, but yet right where it's at, but yet at the same time, you can actually move that whole folder someplace else on your server for security reasons. Okay, so with that said, I'm not going to create the file. I'm actually just going to run the code. So let's clean a little bit of this stuff out of the way. And okay, I'm going to run it from here. I know I didn't reset the page here. Let me refresh this page. Okay, the first thing we get when we try to run the site is we get the option to set up our database. This is going to create that config file that I just showed you. So I'm going to put in my server IP, which is a local IP address, so don't bother trying to hack me with that. It's a local on the network. Okay, and WalkTheWeb user. Now your server will need to have internet access so it can reach out and do certain things. Another part of this screen right here before I move on is that in this directory you can set a different table prefix. So if you want to run multiple websites with this code and yet share the same database, all you have to do is change the table prefix, and everything for that version of the site will stay underneath that prefix for all of its tables. So it becomes nice. Okay, we click save. Now all we have to do is create our admin account. I'm just going to call it admin. And we get our password, and if we get an email address in there, and then we can also say pick a name of our site. You can also put in a Google Analytics ID, and this will tell you how much traffic is hitting your site. So this one is the master Google Analytics ID. Remember that I said this is the master because later on I'm going to show you how you can actually set it for communities, buildings, and things within the app itself. So you can also track, in addition to the master of what's happening on your server, you can also track the additional traffic to a particular item in a scene. Okay, I'm going to click Save. And what it does is it gives me a list of different buildings to choose from, or different communities, which are your scenes. I'm going to select this one, and when you click it, it goes through and it does a number of things. It's actually going out to my shared server and downloading the particular scene that you've chosen. When it finishes, it'll prompt you and we'll move on to selecting the building. It takes a little bit of time when it starts to get the uploaded files because it does have to grab all the images for that particular site, depends on what it has. Okay, then we have different buildings. So you can come in here and choose which one you want to get. And when you pick one, it'll do the same thing, goes through its steps, and it's actually retrieving the building information from my shared website. When that finishes, the next step is choosing your avatar. So a couple seconds here for it to finish downloading the images. And here we are. And it's loading all the different avatars right now. There's 10 avatars altogether to choose from. When somebody comes to your site, if they are anonymous, they get a choice of the female or male robot, and then they can set the colors for those two that they choose. So those are the anonymous visitors. When they create an account on your machine, then they can choose from these 10 different avatars. I'm going to pick one, and it shows me him. And notice we get this avatar settings. The first one is avatar display name. If you click that, you can type in what you want others to be able to identify you as when they see you. So that's display name, and notice it also writes it down below the box in the bottom right corner. Avatar colors. Next, you can either click on an item over here, for example, tops, which would be the shirt in this case, or you can actually click on the item in the scene and it'll select it over here. Once you've picked something, then you can choose what color you want it to be, and then just move to the next item. And you can kind of decorate the guy or the avatar any direction you'd like to decorate it. Okay, we got to get some brown shoes in here. Get some brown going on those shoes. Okay, and hey, you know what? You have full option to do whatever you want. If you want to be a Martian, or if you want to be any color, we have all support for all colors on all avatars. And I kind of like going somewhere in here and then back it off a bunch. Makes it look like I got a suntan, which you know how programmers are. We don't go outside. So, okay, and the last one, I'm just going to do the hat real quick just to darken that up. Okay, so then when I'm done with that, the next one is avatar animations. You get to choose for every one of these items, you can choose how you want them to do it. So like right now, by default, oh, and notice that I move my mouse over the screen when he moves. When I move my mouse, I can roll the mouse button and basically he walks. And don't worry, his eyes are kind of like, yeah, we'll get to that. But okay, so, and if you hold the mouse button down, you can make him turn and rotate. So between that, you also have the ability to use the keyboard arrows to turn and move forward and backwards. Or if you're a gamer, you can use the A, S, D, W keys, and also QE will rotate him. A and D will strafe. W and S forward and backwards. R and F will actually look up and down, so you can move around that direction too. So you got a full set of options. If you have a touch screen, you can also move around in touch screen. Left side of the screen moves forward and backwards, and the right side looks around. Okay, so we have this certain walk, and I can come in here and say, oh, I want to make it whatever it is. It reloads the avatar at this time. Later on, I'll see if I can't fix that so it loads automatically. But there we go. Now when I walk forward, he's got a dizzy walk. Or I can go, okay, this is all looking really cool. I'm going with happy walk. Yeah, he's happy. Works for me. The next thing is, once you go through, you can choose each one of these different, from each one has a drop-down menu and you can pick your different items. But otherwise, you can go to optional gestures. This is where you have a lot of freedom. There are close to 200 animations in here, and you can do everything from a simple wave. And notice when you set them, if you look down here, if you click this little action icon down in the bottom, then there's a button here, and you can hold the button down and it will play a particular animation. So that's how you can choose between them. We can add animations, and we can go, how about over here? And when it finishes loading, it shows you the icon for it. Now, hey, look over here, look over here. Okay, and we're going to add one more animation just for the heck of it. And we're going to do the, where is it? Oh, I think I just saw it and moved it. There it is. Gangnam style dance. Okay, so now we have a dance, a happy dance. Oh yeah, baby, yeah, look at that go. Woo, 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 woo. Okay, so when I'm done loading up my avatar, and at any time you can click this little button right here, the select animations, and it will automatically bring this back up, and you can change the animations that you're using. Okay, so when I close the avatar settings, now it will load the scene of the building, or the community scene and the building that I put together. Okay, and if we walk around, notice we can actually move around and do all kinds of fun stuff here, but we are fully integrated, we are fully ready to go at this point. We have our building, we have our scene. And notice this is at the default website. So 3d.http3d.org, which was the site I set up, and that's what we have.